How you doing, Ceelo Green?
What's up, brother?
Hey, man, tell me a little bit about this product.
All right, man. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a lot.
Well, tell me how you got involved. Victor had to tell his story.
Okay. Well, me and Victor, we met
like 3 years ago.
about 3 years ago in Miami. Shouts out to Peter Thomas, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, we was kicking it at Bar One, celebrating life, man, and it was a vibe. And we exchanged numbers, and I have to just say, his professionality, his adamancy and consistency with me about being a part of this brand, you know, and we only just recently made it official, you know, but we talked back and forth for about 2 years, and then we started to, you know, reconvene and connect and really make it official and make it all happen. But, you know, I got on board because of the quality of the product, you know what I'm saying, like, and the quality of character of this man sitting next to me, you know what I'm saying?
We were
like,
bumping each other, whether it's in Miami, Atlanta, and just staying in touch, and without even really talking about business all the time.
Yeah.
Just getting to know each other and just kind of filling each other out as men, as businessmen, and things like that. And just, in my opinion, it evolved into something that's this is only the start of it. So. And
then I got a chance to hear more or less experience the backstory that you are referring to, which I would like to, you know, this is a perfect segue for you to go over to the show.
We're gonna get into that in just 1 second.
Okay, got it.
1 second now. For everybody who don't know what we're talking about Victor George spirits, VG spirits. Now we have 2 vodkas.
Correct. We got a regular and a caramel, which is Lowe's favorite.
And then you have a bourbon.
Correct. Fort Mosé.
And we're gonna get into what Fort Mosé is all about coming up right after this. Forget You.
Hello.
Ceelo in the building. Victor George in the studio. It's V-103. Got some very special guests in the studio. My bro Ceelo and Mr. Victor George. What up?
What up?
What's up? What's up?
About to talk about this. These beverages. Now I told you, no shade. The Uncle Nearest story is crazy, but I strongly suggest that you put your phone to the radio and get ready to record this audio that Mr. Victor George is about to tell us before Ceelo chimes in too with his alcoholic tendencies. This is probably the most amazing African American history story that you're going to hear all Black History Month.
Facts.
All year long, every day, all day.
Facts and shame.
Yeah, it's something that needs to be told. It's way overdue.
He's about to give it to you right now as we talk about the VG spirits, Fort Mosé, 1738. Let's go, Vic.
So I'll just jump right into it. Like, when I first got into the business, it was like, you know, people said, you know, oh, so your first vodka, you know, like you named it after yourself. Like, you know, I was arrogant, had some kind of ego. And, you know, the running joke was, you know, it worked for George Foreman, so why not, right?
Why not?
But
when it comes to bourbon,
right,
hold on, every bourbon has an amazing story.
Every bourbon has a great story. And so, but every story has a storyteller. And so that was the main reason for doing it. And having been in the business for a long time, I knew that, you know, vodka was the easiest barrier to entry. Is still the fastest growing spirit. Even though bourbon is second and tequila's climbing too, which we're going to do as well. But I said, you know what, let me do that, and then let me start to create these different spirits that have amazing stories. So I knew bourbon, as I'm a whiskey drinker, and so I wanted something that tied to Florida, and I wanted something that tied to Black people. And so as I started doing my research, I came across this amazing story about Fort Mosé. And so I'll just tell you the quick story about Fort Mosé. In 1726, 38 slaves escaped Charleston, South Carolina. Instead of going north, they went south. Most people didn't know that the Underground Railroad went south before it went north. And so they wanted to get to Spanish Florida because most of the slave catchers at that time were looking north and going that way. And they didn't come down here without danger. But the King of Spain said, if you get to Florida, you can stay if you convert to Catholicism and you fight with us alongside the Yamasee Indians. So they got there, they were skilled farmers and numerous other things, but the word spread, the plantations all over the South. And so even from here in Georgia, and slaves started escaping down what's called the Gullah Geechee Corridor, which went from Charleston, South Carolina through Jacksonville into St. Augustine. They got enough of them there to form a militia. under General Menendez. And so they joined up with the Spanish and the Yamasee Indians. They fought the war and they won. And as a reward for doing it, the governor of Florida gave them their own town called Fort Mosé, which is 2 miles outside of St. Augustine. It's still there, it exists to this day. I was just there 2 weeks ago. And in 1738, it became the first town in America where black people could live free. So when I saw that story, it just as I just told it now, it gave me goosebumps. And I said, this is a story that needs to be told. Like, it's one that nobody knows about. But the bigger part of it all is that that's not just black history, that's American history.
Facts.
And that needs to go all over. And I really feel that not only should, excuse me, every black person visit Fort Mosé, but every American should visit Fort Mosé, because there were so many things that we had to do to gain freedom that allows us here, you know, to be here today and do the things that we're doing, whether it's creating music, whether it's radio, whether it's creating spirits, you know, all kinds of other businesses.
Business, athletics.
And we, you know, as black people, I'll say this, like, we've been, you know, tearing down barriers for many, many years. I was very blessed to be invited by, I'll say, Senator Tony Hill out of Jacksonville, former senator. And a lot of people don't know the story about the Moffett Marines. And the Marine Corps was the last branch of the U.S. service to integrate with black people. And so the Moffett Marines could only train at a what is it called, a station in North Carolina, but they couldn't integrate with the rest of the Marine Corps. So just yesterday, I got invited to a celebration where the oldest Moffett Marine is 101 years old, and they gave him the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Wow.
And that's a story that I didn't know about. I'm sure a lot of people don't know about. And I was on the flight. This is how surreal things are. I'm on the flight here this morning, and I'm sitting next to a young gentleman in his Marine outfit. And I asked him, I said, have you ever heard of this? And he was like, no, sir. And so I pulled it up on my phone, and I showed him like one of the articles that came out yesterday. And he says, you know what? I think I did hear about it a little bit in basic training. And he was like, I wish I could have been there and been invited to that ceremony, because I was in Fort Lauderdale. So there's just so many stories that have not been told, and this is only the beginning. It's just like music, you know, and that's kind of why, like, when Lo and us kept talking, it's like we connected on levels that, you know, he's an entertainer in many, many, many different aspects, but he's an artist. He talked to our whole company. He's a motivational speaker. He's got all these things, and I said, this is it, bro. Like, we got so many stories to tell, and I was like, that's the kind of person that I want to partner up with, and that's how it all came about.
And it's in stores too. VG, the vodka's in stores. Victor George, of course, Fort Mosé, 1738. He just told the story of Fort Mosé. And it's an amazing story, like I said, it should be told. Tex Rover, Warren Watley, big bourbon drinkers. Fort Mosé, 1738.
Cigar enthusiast.
There you go. I mean, that's what we do. And
We should always write cups to that story, man. That's a beautiful piece of black history, American history.
yeah, we definitely got
Black
something.
history. Thank you. So proud.
Yeah, and just thanks for, you know, having us here and allowing us to, you know, to tell that story. I was just sharing with Lily, who is our market manager, and actually that was another connection between Lo and I, because she's originally from Fort Lauderdale, and we were looking for, at the time, a brand ambassador for Atlanta. And she drove or flew, I don't know how she got there, all the way to our office and said, I want to apply. And she came in and she met with my daughter and some other people, and they were like, you got to hire this girl. And so we met and we were talking, and I was, you know, somehow, and I said, oh yeah. And I was like, you heard of Ceelo Green? And she didn't even say nothing. She FaceTimed him right in front of me. Wow. And he's like, what's up, bro? She was like, and it was just surreal. And now she's our market manager for the whole state of Georgia. And, you know, so it's just like, I believe in that type of stuff. You know, V-103, Greg Street, everybody else, you know, thanks for having us out here. But we got to continue to, you know, to tell these stories and celebrate. You know, when you have a cocktail with your family and your friends, it's supposed to be a celebration. And that's what we want to continue to do, is, you know, in everything that we do.
Let's get it, man. Let everybody know how they can get involved with the brand. It's being distributed here locally in Metro Atlanta and Georgia. Of course, wherever you go, enjoy your favorite spirits, whether it's a beverage store or a place of business, a restaurant or a club or whatever. a cigar spot, make sure they have the Victor George, the VG Vodka, and the Fort Mosé 1738 bourbon.
Yeah, and the number one thing is you got to ask for, like, we have a major distributor here. You know, the vodka's in 44 states, the bourbon's in 10 already in just a few months. But at the end of the day, you know, when you go into your favorite bar, restaurant, club, liquor store, you know, there's you know, you got to ask for it because it's still tough, and we're still, you know, there's a lot of, you know, major companies, major brands that we're going up against. But, you know, our goal, and, you know, Lo and I talk about this too, is that, you know, we're going to be the largest black-owned liquor company in the U.S. by 2025 because it's like, you know, I play sports my whole life, and it's a blueprint, and it's a game plan, and we study the competition, and we watch film, and we see what everybody else is doing so that we know how to move different, and that's what we're going to do.
VG Vodka, Victor George, Ceelo Green.
Yes, sir.
Ceelo.
VG-103.
VG-103. I like that.
I like it too.
We'll be the first entirely black-owned spirit and beverage company, but not the last, because we want to encourage black excellence and enterprise.
Now, Ceelo Green,
Yes, sir.
being down with Victor George, VG Vodka, Fort Mosé 1738 bourbon, what are some of the things that you're looking forward to when it comes to Atlanta? As far as Atlanta supporting the brand, like what are some of your ideas for different avenues and different ways that you see as a businessman, Atlanta can really get involved with this to make the difference?
I think we're in the process of, you know, establishing some mixers and some opportunities for people to come out and really just taste the product. That's really what it boils down to. You know, I think it can only, you know, be an extension of what your taste is. I mean, and I think the quality is in the product itself. You can't really try to oversell it. You have to come and experience it. You know what I mean? But, you know, drinking and socializing and celebrating, it's all about the company that you're keeping. So we want to, you know, really is, you know, we're scouting and coming up with some nice original places to do, because it's almost like everything's been done. I mean, like, you know, like Atlanta is a hub for everything. Everybody comes with their products. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So I'm from here. I mean, if I could have everybody over my house, I would. You know what I mean? That's how close it is to me, and how personal how personal I want it to become with the buying market and the consumers. So we're just gonna stamp it. We're just gonna stand on top of it, and we're gonna be consistent. And we're gonna be insistent and persistent. You know what I mean? Like, this is the best black, you know, spirit that you can have. I mean, it's the only one that exists.
What's your favorite right now?
My favorite one is VG Caramel Vodka. It's so good, y'all. I mean, I know people that have had flavored vodkas. I'm not going to mention any of our contemporaries' names. I think you know who they are. But there's a distillery process with this one of where, you know how something can have an aftertaste? You could taste it. It tastes like the vodka. Then you get the after bite of something.
It tastes like rubber tusk.
Yeah. So, but this is all even. It's even from sip to swallow. You know what I mean? And it's just beautiful. It's art. It's really artful. And this is the one that really impressed me because, I mean, other than tequila, and we're working on our tequila too. You know, I usually do shots, as you know, but, you know, if I'm going to cool out, just have a conversation. I mean, like, you know, it can only be enhanced by caramel vodka.
You know, if I could tell anybody to take something with them, you know, whether it's, you know, your job, your everyday life, whether it's your health. You know, I have a dad that's going to be 90, and, you know, he goes through, you know, some sorts of depression and things like that. I'm like, Pops, like, you have nothing wrong with you health-wise. Like, grab a hold of your life, bro. Like, you live more than most people ever live, so be free. And that's what, you know, I've lived my whole life like that. I speak very freely. I live very freely. And that's the bigger message of it all. And I do want to just tap in on this quick thing when Lo was talking about the caramel, is that one of the things that makes us different, and I shared this with Greg earlier, is that we actually own our own distillery. Mm-hmm. Right now, to this day, people can come visit us, see what we do, see how we do it. The city of Fort Lauderdale just gave us $2.5 million to build the city's first black-owned distillery, which is, I already have another one. This is going to be a bigger one with restaurants, cigar bars, and all kind of stuff. Church. But I know Lo likes tequila as well, and so we're collaborating on how to come up with the best products. But with the caramel, you know, what we do different is in our filtration, and it is all natural products. So what he was alluding to is that, as he was saying earlier, and that's the fun part of it all.
So you don't get the Robitussin taste?
You don't get no Robitussin,
It's
no
got healing
Tylenol, none of
I
that.
was skateboarding with my nephew the other day. My finger scuffed up my knee, man. Pulled some of this camera box on and healed right up.
Right up. Victor George, VG Vodka,
PG, baby.
Fort Mosé, 1738 bourbon,
It's been official.
exclusively on V-103. Listen, when you go to the store, make sure you tell your favorite spot where you buy your beverages to get this VG Vodka and to get the Fort Mosé bourbon. They must have it when you go to your favorite restaurants, your favorite lounges, your favorite clubs, your favorite cigar spots. VG Vodka.
And I shared this with Greg too, and I'm gonna just leave it at this. Atlanta, like right now, obviously Florida's our biggest market. Atlanta's different. Atlanta's special. I feel it every single time I come here. The support of black-owned businesses and the way you guys roll over here is different. And I just want to say, I appreciate, even allowing us to be here. But this will be our biggest market. And not no disrespect to where I live. I love where I live. I got the beaches. I got everything over there, right? But this
You don't got no beaches.
This over here is special.
We got
You know what I'm saying? So
Ain't got
I
no
just,
saying ain't got no beaches.
You don't got no beaches.
we ain't got no Ceelo.
Hey, Vic, you don't got no beaches.
We got beaches.
You're in that 5 o'clock traffic, man. Ask for it by 9. VG Vodka, Fort Mosé, 1738 bourbon whiskey. In the building at V-103. Thank you guys for coming through the studio today.
Absolutely. No, thanks for having us. Everybody come out. We're at Camp Creek Liquors doing tastings every Friday and Saturday throughout Black History Month. Learn the story, learn the history, try some great beverages, and
drink responsibly.
There you go.
You do
Always.
what?
That's
Drink
number one.
responsibly.
That's number one.
Keisha Dixon, it's Taco Tuesday. It's V-103. See you.